talking about again? Black, white, and black problems?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Black and white.
Oh, we're talking about this, particularly this feminism thing, right?
Yeah. You're talking about how...
Okay. So we're watching this thing on...
Microaggressions.
Microaggressions, right? So we're watching this thing right now on Netflix, History 101, right? And it's basically talking about feminism. And basically I'm talking how they're appropriating the black fist to delegitimize the black movement in the name of validating like feminism as a concept that we need to like work on or something like that. I know feminism is a thing. I know like people are equal and stuff, but I feel certain concepts are like delegitimizing our struggle. And just as much as like they saturate and like latch on, just as much as like reparations would apply to all people of ethnic origins and stuff versus just foundational black Americans. So we're talking about the idea of evolution, of defending these concepts, and we're talking about it. So what's your thoughts?
See, my thoughts on it, like Malcolm X said in his own words, the black man's worst enemy is not the white man, it's our own selves. And I think the solution is, to just organize and strategize and do it for self.
Yeah,
that's the only way. There's a million. There's probably more than a million microaggressions and other obstacles that are outside the community. That if we focus on those, not saying that we have to ignore them, but if we were to focus on any and all of those, as opposed to the main thing, it's just the dream is never really going to be alive. I just think, even when you go to school, you got a certain focus. Everything you do in life, you focus on one thing at a time. That's how you move forward. There's, like I said, there's always going to be obstacles.
Yeah, and I just think it's time to like honor like the foundation things are built on, and just as much as we're in this corporation of a country, I definitely believe in do for self and like take care of your house, keep your house in order. It's all great and dandy. That's a creative life across any nation and person all day. I just think in this country there's like a strong history of basically a suppression of our potential, and particularly for certain demographics, the receipts are like outlandish. So speaking as a black person, I feel that it takes to honor what has been not properly given its burial, or like it's ownership. This is much as like currently in Tulsa, like the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa riots.
Yeah.
No one went to jail for that. Not a single motherfucker. Emmett Till murderer is still alive. You know what I'm saying? People like there's no reparations properly of just justice. There's no equity and acknowledging these things from official offices. Like we know this has happened, but there's no prosecution. Just as much as the Capitol riots and who's getting prosecuted on that, it's minute. But like if there's a gangbang shooting, they're taking the whole RICO case on the block. Like it's really absurd how they're applying these laws.
One lesson that I learned, I want the audience to learn, when I was behind the walls, and it was actually taught to me as a child. I don't think I've really shared this with you yet.
No.
Okay, so I was doing a lot of time, and I was thinking in my mind, well, I'm innocent. I didn't really do this. I shouldn't be in here. I shouldn't be behind the wall. The white dude came up to me. He's like, "Yo, man, he didn't say, oh, you're crying like a baby. Shut up." He's like, "Yeah, I understand. I understand your struggle." But to wrap it up shortly, he just said, "Don't dwell on the past. Think about what you're going to do as a solution and in the future. And that should be your main focus. You don't have to ignore what happened, but don't let that be your spirit, your whole being. Like I can point out all of your imperfections all day, right? And I can tell you that that's the reason why you're not successful with this, that, and third. But if you were strong enough to be like, hey, you know what? I have this one mission to fulfill. And like like you diverted all your attention to that instead of me telling you all of these imperfections and you projecting all those other imperfections out. You would be so much more great as a human being, as a black individual, you know. And I just think that that's the way that we should move.
I recognize it. I recognize it. I think the battle's on multiple fronts. You know, just like time is not just necessarily the moment. Like we're always planning for the future, but we recognize the past and we move forward. You know, so like we're always juggling these concepts of like who we are from what we knew in the past to how we are in the moment to as we want to be in the future. Yeah. So in that, we have to recognize the tools of our belt. You know, and the almanac of our history, and the almanac of things that show a disproportionate amount of respect or honor or recognizing humanity of certain groups. And that lack of representation and respect comes the narrative of speaking that sounds abrasive, like, oh, we gotta like charge them for our problems. No, it's not that. We all have problems. I gotta get that shit together. Yes. It's just that we shouldn't be poisoned while fixing our house, you know? And there's too many poisons out there targeting us as a nation, as a people, as a human. You know what I mean? And that needs to be adjusted. Just as much as fluoride, circumcision. I'm dead ass about that shit.
No, I agree. I think that we don't ignore. I think we should delegate certain individuals to certain fights, and like it's not. I hate to say this, but most of us are not strong enough to handle all of these fronts. Like even in the military, every single war, there were generals, there were snipers, there were people who were on the front line, there were medics, there were cooks, there were photographers. There were different people designated for different jobs. And the majority of the people, all they really, the best that they could do for the function of winning the wars was being on the front lines and giving their lives and going out in mass as workers, instead of, you know, every single individual thinking that they're general, thinking that they should be the spearhead in the war, and that everyone should follow them. I think that idealism is destroying the black community, and everybody could be a leader, and for the whole, for the unity of everybody. But we can all be individuals that contribute, and you know, I guess it's up to you. It's like, how are you contributing?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And how am I contributing?
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah, people say people say there's so many problems you can like solve in the world. Why are you complaining about this peer? And I recognize what they're saying, but to me, having the conversation is the first bow to address the problem. You cannot tame a demon until you name the demon. So in that, naming fluoride, circumcision, social issues, how Black Lives Matter is like a front organization for some other bullshit, like calling these things out clear as day is the narrative that needs to speak. You guys speak the truth to shame the devil. And I just have a confidence. And with that, the world is not solved with simple math. It's not an A plus B equals C for everybody. You know, it doesn't work that way.
It's more than black and white, but more than black and white. There's a lot of gray. Mostly gray.
But even beyond that, it's a dance. It's esoteric. Certain things are tangible that can be quantified. You necessarily can't quantify life. There's an emerald tablet for one thing, right? But it's not like we can write out the formula for the perfect life for everybody to follow this like rubric or some military shit. And that doesn't exist. Like we're humans, we have like variation perfections. And in that, we're all refining ourselves to find our goldier state, our higher state. And in that clumsy process, as we live this life, we learn to like, hopefully become stronger and empathic with our fellow life forms.
I hear you. I think there should be a standard for living. Not everybody has to follow that standard, but I think there should be a standard for living for our people. And I think if people knew what that standard was, you know, some will fall short, some will
excel.
Some will excel. You know, those who excel, I think should then have the right to if they want things to change
to lead or what?
Well, let's say there's a traditional format for the black community when it comes to family, when it comes to power building, power structures, and we all followed the standard, and we achieved that standard. Some excelled, and those who excelled could do more, but those who don't excel should focus on just the standard. And just imagine if you have 100 people, and say 70 of them are at the standard. 20% of them excel. 30% of them excel, but 20% of them
Below average. Below average what?
No, 20%. Okay, so 70% of the people are okay with the standard. They don't really excel. They're not beneath.
They're the normies.
They're the norms.
Okay.
Then you got 30% who excel, right? 20% of those, 20% of that 30%, they're bad.
Okay, the lower depths. Okay, I got
No. They're high. They excel.
Okay, but they're bad excelling.
They're just bad individuals. They want to do evil. They don't really want the unity. They want to destroy it.
So to acknowledge that, this defining what evil is. Evil makes good good.
Okay, well, you said yin and the yang, yin and the yang. But
You have to ask them to push against to know where you stand. So, like,
I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that there should be a standard.
I recognize the concept we're trying to paint. I think also just esoterically, we got to recognize that there's always going to be a fight to push against because we don't want to get bored. You know, like the flavors of life come with like the ups and downs of the roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, like this rule applies to everybody. Like
everyone has their own backstory of the same issue.
Yeah, so it's like if there was a standard for just humans out here, black, white, but we're focusing on black because we're black. I really think that we would be out of this we would be in a way better place, just globally, nationally, just all across the board. If we had a standard to, all right, well, this is what we're supposed to be doing. People want to fight the power so much, they want to rebel, and you know, this isn't the first time this happened in history. This always happens. Always happens. Everybody wants to have their own mind. Everybody wants to.
Yeah, we're low-key entitled to it. Like we're born with it.
Yeah, there's no issue with having your own mind, but just at least meet the standard. Like not everybody.
Standard is a slippery slope for vaccinations in another world. You know what I'm saying? Like when you say standard, it's like SOLs and like SATs and shit. Like standards can be corrupted and divided through a science, regime. Like standards they're nice to feel, they're nice to say, and we definitely think. I think it's more about a feeling versus like an actual rubric. You know, like we feel cool about it. That's a lot better. But it's better words. But go ahead, tell me more. I'm thinking about it again.
Yeah, all I'm saying is if there's a standard, like there's standards and there's rankings with every, facet of just about every facet of life that you can think of. So having a standard isn't so bad. Like most people should learn how to read. They should learn addition, subtraction, multiplication. Those are standards of life that most people should be able to attain. The basic normal people, they should be able to attain those basic standards. So if you so the opposite would be anarchy, right? You just have everybody just doing their own thing. Nobody follows any rules. They just whatever they want to do. That's chaos.
Not necessarily. That's that's the assumption that people aren't innately trusting of themselves. Like, it's assuming that people are innately that evil. Like, people are good until they're corrupted. You know what I'm saying? People are ignorantly dumb and naive of things that can, over time, be corrected and adjusted. There is evil stuff, you know what I mean? But ultimately, like, a truth dominates that. Like, it's kind of hard to evil just to keep lying in evil's face. Like, eventually, too much truth, you just got to own that shit. Like,
well,
questionable America, but yeah.
there was a study done. there's a study done back in the 50s.
Uh-huh.
1,000 people,
Mhm.
right? You do whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
The anarchist movement.
Communes and stuff?
Huh?
Some of the communes?
Uh,
Philadelphia experiments?
no, I don't know about that. But
Mhm.
basically, everybody was to do whatever anything they wanted. It was corrupted from the 20% of the people. They corrupted the whole thing, and basically, they died. They just died. There was no food. There was no structure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean,
Voyagers.
people were killing each other left and right. This is a bigger topic. I mean, like, if everything is everything is subjective and relative,
Totally.
and
It's fodder for the
everything is just like, you know, this particular person feels this type of way, so they should be doing this, and you know, there's just no standard. Like I say, just it's all chaos. Tell me a time in history when people had no standards and they thrived.
I mean, I think everything.
Ever since the beginning of civilization, there's been standards. If you don't plant seeds,
I mean, standards comes with intelligence, low key. Like to know you exist and to know you have to feed yourself is a standard of maintenance. To know you have to wash your ass is a standard of maintenance. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's tandem with life. Like, just like you have hunger to feed yourself. You know, certain things are natural instincts.
And no, they're not natural instincts. I would beg to differ.
I think it's just been really corrupted for quite a while. I don't think we know which way is up anymore. Like, we've been corrupted for a while. You know what I'm saying? So like,
people, tell us. Just put one in the chat room if you think people living without standards is the best way to go.
I'm not saying without standards. I'm just saying standards has humility. Everything. Okay. My bigger point is probably that everything has humility. There's like an opposite, absurd part of the same conversation. Just as much as we say science means this or science proves that. You know, with these standards, like, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. Everything's a case-by-case basis. And that's the beauty of humanity, is to learn that checks and balances and evolving in, like, humility of our interactions. Like, it's a journey from every angle to be the best righteous self.
Yeah, I used to fight with my brother about this very thing. So everything is not black and white. There's a lot of gray areas, a lot of gray black areas, a lot of white black areas, a lot of green and black areas. There's so much color, so much pigmentation that there can't be no standard. You just do what you want to do, and you just live your life.
So much.
C'est la vie, right? That's what they say. I was like, yo, no. If you keep smoking, you're gonna die.
You're gonna die regardless. First off.
Yeah, if you keep smoking, you're gonna die soon. If you keep smoking at the rate
statistically,
if you keep smoking at the rate that you're going, I mean, you're gonna be smoking like every waking moment, and you're gonna die. Or you're not gonna be able to run. It's just there's science behind it.
Or you could be that one person like Henrietta Lacks
that one
has
person,
that weird blood, or two people, or one of 1,000 people that just happen every time I smoke. I feel like I'm on steroids.
Yeah, like, but that's anecdotal though, and that doesn't work for everybody.
Nothing works for everybody.
There's a standard that works for most.
Most things don't work for everybody.
There's a standard that works for most.
It's interpretation of things that work for everybody.
People want to, okay, so an able-bodied individual should be able to work.
Should be able to. What does should mean?
Should be able to be. If you have a clean bill of health, mentally, physically, and you're normal. You should be able to produce. You should be able, at the very least, you should be able to.
Are you saying should, or are you obliged to? Because should means like, I think you might want to, versus like should means as in you must be adding your part to the mix. It sounds like you're saying obliged with should.
Okay, well, in that case, every person should be obliged to contribute to society in some form or way. I think that would be the standard.
That's also why you wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same person. Like, I get this should be obliged. There's some point where we sacrifice.
You should, unless you've produced and you contributed so much to society that you know you're just like on, like you beat the level, you beat the game already, and you're just chilling back, and you can just like, just add or you just do whatever you want to do at that point. I guess I'm not saying that it's a never-ending job, but I am saying that you should be able to you should contribute. You should be obliged to contribute to society.
Yeah, and I think naturally we're
especially if you're consuming. Especially if you're consuming.
We're by nature consuming beings, and we're beings of service. We all serve each other in some form or fashion from any level of the world. We're beings of service. We serve this planet. We serve our spirits. We serve this growth process. Serve's never going to stop.
Let's see how many people put that one in the chat room.
A strong one, the best one ever. We got a whole bunch of come. Hey. So yeah,
check it out.
We're chopping it up.
How many people put that one in that chat room?
Couple thousand. Keeping that G for now, you know what I'm saying? A couple thousand, maybe 2, 3, 4,000. That was good.
Nah, but really? So Pierre.
Yes, sir.
2 questions.
Are you over there?
Come up, use back.
Okay.
2 questions. So, what do you think, in 5 minutes or less, what do you think is a solution
42.
for building up the black community? And also you can add
health
to
one word, health. Get your health
being contributing to the nation
globally.
Globally.
I'm a shaman, yo. It's fucking health. Get your shit together. Like people
give us a master plan of how
it's health, bro. It's just health, that simple. Like what you are gravitates. You know what I'm saying? Like you resonate what you are. I recently finished reading the book The Alchemist. I also want to do a review on that. That's just a phenomenal book. And in the process, it speaks to me a lot of understanding how we develop, interact, whatever. But put a pin in that. Focus on health right now. Health is what we all need on any format from any front. It's health. Health is what you take in, how you respect your body, the awareness of it. Like there are so many micro things of our movements we're not really in tune with because I speak of the masses I see aren't properly aligned. I'm working on it myself, and I'm happy to share the story with our diet, things we eat. Like nothing against eating flesh, but like this mass production of flesh, in McDonald's and shit, just an abomination. Fucking fluoride, fucking circumcision. These things are health problems that are just promoted as normal. Like, how can you ever sweep up your house if you're in a tornado? There's constant winds of all these formats. You might have to build a fucking wall. You might have to get your house together and tighten your shit up before you can start sweeping what you call a house and change the weather. We got to get our house in order. And with that process, I just highly recommend people to be aware of the awkward learning curve of learning yourself. Just as much as you learn from ABCs to 1, 2, 3s and there's algebra in between. What's up with that? That's a process of digestion. I highly encourage every human being to know thyself, and it's a humbling way of knowing your favorite color, what influences you, and this knowing yourself, it's just a way of these insecurities that are manifesting these odd ways that we call demons and personality traits. It's we can be a lot harmonious on some avatar shit. We just gotta tap into and stop poisoning ourselves. That requires addressing all the toxins that keep, limiting our potential. I highly see a greater world amongst all the bullshit. Even though there's always evils and shit, there's always problems. There's rich problems, there's poor problems, there's spiritual problems. But I think the spiritual problems will be a higher vibration of problem maybe. Rich problems are better than poor problems. So rich spirits are trying to let these poor spirits raise the vibration because your strongest, weakest link. We're chained to the same planet. So the weaks are fucking up my weak. So I am obliged to reach out and say, yo, this is how I can recommend. Hopefully, if my words are powerful and strong enough and dense enough to express their spirits, to find their wisdom and stuff, have the humility to question things. But I'm willing to be wrong. Willing to be wrong all day. Please, I love to be wrong because I can find out what's right about it. You know what I'm saying? Please, willing for the challenge. I'm a spirit checker. As a shaman life, I learned to embrace and take my title properly. And what the fuck is a shaman? I just help you find the better part of yourself. People say it's a therapist or a Reiki healer. It's all nice and dandy. I don't give a fuck. I say shaman. And in that, I just challenge people to find their spirits. I'm always willing for the conversation for any age, any time of person to see what's going on. You got some anger in your life, let's talk. I'm a friend. Hit me up. You know what I'm saying? In that process, I take honor in helping reverse engineer and digest their problems because the wiser I get about their shit, the more I can help stop the next shit. It's you see the storm coming because you have an almanac of people's personality traits. That's what I've become the ambassador of in a weird way. I'm out there. I'm bringing it back, and I'm trying to manifest this in multiple fronts through the NNN and deep conversations and whatnot, and hopefully raise vibrations. I think the intention is the most, and it starts with the mind, and I'm pushing it out there in action, and you do value what you do, and whatever you see is what you see. Hopefully, interpret the proper way. If not, willing for a challenge. This is a long rant for me right now. I was supposed to have this conversation on with him, but whatever. Let's talk about The Alchemist. So I read The Alchemist book, right, and that shit was pretty good. It's about like a shepherd, and the shepherd basically becomes the alchemist, right? And the process is like he interacts with people, and he travels, and he learns the value of the language of the world. That's what I was trying to talk about. And it's like the language of the world is like seeing the respect of the universe and a speck of dust just as much as people that do divination look at tarot cards or oracle bones or Ouija boards, what the fuck ever. Like whatever's for divination or astrology, what the fuck ever. All these divination forms are the same essence of what I've learned from the alchemist story of the parable of seeing the beauty in the world in every, like a microverse kind of thing. Like you just zoom in and out, quantum shit, all that kind of concept, right? It's really Dr. Strange-esque. But as you zoom in and you respect each individual thing, like I feel there's a channel of power and enlightenment that we're going through with some like real Hindu shit. Like I feel we're in a different like yuga, and slowly but surely we're like decalcifying as we like refine ourselves spiritually. What's good, yo?
I'm back.
Back
Oh, by the way, happy Memorial Day to all the people out there. Congratulations to all the vets that died for this country.
For this corporation, but yeah, cool.
Kind of brings me back to another point here.
Yeah.
Were you finished?
I'm taking 5.
Okay. Kind of brings back to my point here. Like we had our ancestors that came here, and the civil rights movement, and all those people that shed blood and gave their lives, dedicated their lives to change human rights and all of that good stuff. I think it's simple, but it's complicated. If we all just stuck together and got along,
Brian King,
this would be a whole lot better for everybody. Like you got people who living in places like Los Angeles who they have to live with 2, 3, 4 roommates, in order to survive instead of just, coupling up and living within their means. And I think that's a big issue.
Yeah, and the means.
And then they're dying alone.
Our values have been corrupted. TV and
that's why I think standards are paramount. That they're basically a lifesaver.
How far are standards from laws?
Well, okay, so let me break down what I mean by standards. Okay. We have 100% of the people. 70% of them are going to be followers. 30% of them are going to be leaders. 20% of them are going to be what we call destroyers.
20% of the leaders.
20% of the leaders are going to be destroyers.
Okay.
Right? The standard would be for most of the people to be coupled up. That means a man and a woman, or whatever type of variation that is, with children, a home that they are going to own, and you raise those kids, you send them to college, or you get them to go out in the workforce and contribute to society. That would be just the basic standard. So within that standard, all it really is you are building. You're having ownership of homes. Mm-hmm. You're teaching you're putting young offspring out here with a better fighting chance of surviving and thriving and contributing to society. That basic standard right there, I think most of us can oblige with. Not all of us want to be parents, and there's so many like blue areas with that. But if that was a standard, and that was promoted more heavily than this pseudo-communist, pseudo-anarchist way of living, I think we would all be better.
Standards are great. Standards are nice. I just want to recognize that standards will be exploited by someone for some reason to basically justify white supremacy. Like that's like everything comes with a double-edged sword. We can say standard, you know, this is what we say standard for vaccination.
How long are you gonna be afraid of the big white bully? I mean, the big bully, white, black,
I
whatever.
ain't afraid of nothing. What you mean?
It sounds like it.
No. I'm just calling out evil, bro. Like
We call it evil, but we can overcome it. Can we not?
I am overcoming it. I'm overcoming it every second of my breath. Like, I'm just calling that shit out as evil. Like it doesn't mean that two things can't be true. I'm still doing me, and I'm still calling out the truth.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I understand.
Okay.
Power to the people, man. Power to the people.
Yeah, take a break.
Yeah, take a break.
Well, that was a good conversation. We seen it on the ground. Let's talk about stuff. What you want to think about it? Comment section. Thoughts. Peace.